Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thanks so much for joining the Wealthy, Healthy, Happy show. Man, we're into a new series today talking about The Alchemist, man, and it's a book by Paulo Coelho, Turning Lead into Gold. Turning lead into gold. That's what an alchemist is. They are able to transmute and transform things. And we're going to be going through this book and really talking about things that stuck out to us, having conversations about it, and hopefully changing some lives. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified financial educator. We got Mr. Beatles in the building.
What's going on, Wealthy, Healthy, Happy people? This is Mr. Wealthy, Healthy, Happy, and your financial bomb specialist and your small business developer. We are super excited to be here. Why are two financial guys talking about the alchemist this morning, ERGJ?
Well, this, although we are financial experts, we're educators. We're people that want to develop. We're people that are all about personal development. And as we develop ourselves, we are able to communicate better with other people, and we're able to serve the many at a much greater level. And so, this particular book, The Alchemist, it really talks about. It really is something we go through as we look to develop ourselves, our businesses, and our life, as we look to create that which it is that we want to do, be, or become, and as we really, at the end of the day, as we go through this journey, because that's really what this book is about. It's about a young man going through a journey, and there's so much to this book. I mean, I've read it, so it's like hard to not jump to the end, but we're gonna do our best to really go in the step by step, because you already know it's kind of coming down the pike. But you really want to kind of go through this, and really we're going to start with the beginning and start with part one of this book. But I mean, it's a book that it's been around for 30 years. A book that was written and didn't get much pub at all for the first 20 something years of its existence being here, and then all of a sudden it just blows up and becomes a nationally acclaimed book. And just that journey for Mr. Coelho, who is the author, of now seeing his work being treasured the way that he probably foresaw it when he wrote it, and when he gave his life or gave his words or gave his energy into creating this masterpiece. It's very similar to the journey that we may be on. That the seeds that we're planting today, the seeds that we'll plant each and every day along this process, along this step, along this journey, we don't know exactly when those seeds will harvest. We don't know exactly when we talk to the customer today, when they're actually going to buy, when they're actually going to say, hey, I want to use your service. Whether it's 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 months, or 3 years later, we don't know when those seeds will harvest. We don't know when we'll be able to serve the people that we talk to today. And so it's very inspiring just to hear that story about writing something, having it out, and then all of a sudden, 20 something years later, now the world is starting to catch up on that which it is that you put out.
Right. He talks about, I like in the beginning how he talks about following your personal legend, and in following your legend, what he also says, like right after that, is that you have to have the courage, even when it's not conventional, even when society says you're crazy for leaving your 6-figure job to become an author and a writer. And everybody knows that books don't pay a whole lot. Everybody knows that authors don't get paid, and that's not really the way that you make your living. And only if you are a Pearl Clegg or a Maya Angelou or a Stephen King or something like that. You know what I mean? But I mean, those people are few, far, and in between. But this guy says, you know what? I'm going to have the courage to step out, and I'm going to do what many people are afraid to do, and that's simply follow my personal legend. And what I loved about it so much, man, is that I started thinking about that just in general. And how many times have we been told growing up, don't climb heights, don't talk to strangers, be careful. You know, like the world, it isolates.
Hey, that don't talk to strangers is pretty big, man. Because how in the world can you make sales if you don't talk to strangers?
Network, right? So we have these social limitations that have kind of been ingrained in us. and we allow that to kind of shape and mold our character. And in doing so, we don't.
Uh-oh. That's okay. There you go.
Oh,
you froze up a little bit.
But in doing so, we won't. We don't make the phone calls. We don't take the risk because, again, it's just not conventional to do so. But if we can find the thing that truly makes us happy, to find the thing that we are most enthusiastic about, he said that's where you find your legend. That's where you start finding your personal calling, what God has put us all here for, and that's when you will see true happiness.
And it's very interesting, man, because we talk about personal legend. First, you got to find it, right? You got to discover within yourself what your personal legend is. Thanks for joining, Mr. McVay. So we're going through the Alchemist, man. How many of you guys have actually have this book and read this book? Or I guess, man, how many of y'all have never even seen this book or heard of it? Turn Lead into Gold. So that's what we're going through. And so, man, Beatles, it's kind of like, well, where do we start when we're talking about this thing, right? So I read the prologue, which is the intro to the intro.
Right.
And in that, it was a story about the narcissist, right? So the narcissist was basically a young lad. He contemplated over his beauty. He would go and kneel down at the lake and, just really just be fascinated with how handsome he was. And eventually he was so fascinated with himself that he fell into the lake and he drowned. And so the story went that the spot where he drowned, that's when the flower came up, and that's where the narcissist came from. Yeah. Well, after that occurred, then the goddess of the forest came and spoke to the lake. So this is the universe talking to itself. And he asked the lake, like, hey, did you recognize how beautiful this guy was that that he would come and spend time with you every day? And the lake was like, no, he's beautiful. I didn't know he was beautiful. So why did you not know he's beautiful? He came and spent time with you every day. And the lake said, well, whenever he came by, I would see how beautiful I was because I was looking into his eyes and the depths of his soul and seeing my reflection. So the boy would go in and look in the reflection of his lake to see himself, but then the lake was actually looking into the boy's eyes to see a reflection of itself. And that was just a very interesting little parable in the story about it. And it made me wonder, one of the questions that I wanted to ponder on was, what does the universe see in you? What does the universe see in you? So he was so fascinated with his own beauty, his own image, yeah. But the lake wasn't concerned about the image of the individual. And it was saying to me, like, man, when I think about God, right? God, he doesn't look at me as my physical nature and say, oh, you're a handsome guy. When he says I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, he's talking about my soul. He's talking about what's on the inside of me, not what's on the outside. Right. But I'm always looking in the mirror. How often am I looking into the depths of my own soul? How often am I looking into the eyes of myself versus just the covering that I see on the outside? How often am I looking into the inside of myself to see the same thing that the universe or the same thing that God sees in me?
Oh, that's so good. That's going deep. It's going deep, man, ain't it? All right, so that is. It's going. Man, that's going so deep. Again, I'm really excited about this book, man, because we're going to have so many of these types of revelations. But it is going 2, 3, 4 levels deep into who you truly are. And again, it takes a lot of courage to do that. It takes a lot of courage to really look in the mirror and kind of look past the the physical being and really start looking at who you really are. What character values do you have, and what things are you doing every single day to improve and make yourself better? There was another quote that I saw about Paulo, and let me see if I can find it right quick. He says, life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. Life Absolutely. Is about creating yourself. So it's not about finding out who you are. It's about creating who you are and understanding that we have the power to do so. Again, I truly believe that we were created in the image and in the likeness of something much, much higher than we are. And that's kind of how we got here. So if that is the case, then we also have the ability to write our own script. And when we have the courage to do so, when you have the courage to do like Paulo did And as we get through the book, you start to see how his story just really unravels in the character of Santiago. But when we have the courage to write the book, when we have the courage to open the store, when we have the courage to send the email, to make the phone call, when we have the courage to do those things, what happens is that you grow and you become better as a person. And so I encourage everybody, man, that is on this show today, if you have not picked up The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, written in 1988. It was a seed that he planted in 1988. And then when I was reading the introduction, he said, man, people said I was crazy for writing. People thought I was crazy. But he planted the seed in 88. And I'm sure he told everybody in his neighborhood, I'm telling y'all, this is going to be the one. And everybody was like, yeah, whatever, man. 1988. And for 20 years, it seems like everybody else was right. Everybody in the neighborhood was like, yeah, how's your book doing today? How many calls did you make today? How many sales did you make? You know, and he had to tell everybody, man, I didn't make it today, but I'm telling you, it's happening. And then all of a sudden, one day, Bill Clinton got the book, Julia Roberts got the book. It's translated in 56 different languages. And he sells, I think he has sold a total of like 117 million copies. Jeez Louise.
That's a lot of copies, man.
Man, because he had the courage to follow his legend.
So here's the interesting thing, man. We talk about, again, this personal legend, man. Santiago, he went on his journey. First, he had to discover his personal legend and finding that out and tuning into that. And then, after that, he started getting into following the omens, which will lead him to his treasure. And we'll get into that later, man. But we really want to start with his base, where he was when he began to rediscover himself, because he had discovered for himself that he was a shepherd. He said, hey, I'm going to be a shepherd. Now, the reasons why he was a shepherd didn't have anything to do with him wanting to tend sheep. He became a shepherd because his purpose in life was to travel. And his father had deposited in him that the only way that you really travel, only people that really travel who don't have money are shepherd boys. So he said, well, hey, I want to travel. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to travel. So I'm going to become a shepherd. So his goal, his purpose in life was to travel. But the work that he did in order to travel was to be a shepherd. So why am I saying that? Because there are times in your life where you're doing something in order to fulfill something else. It wasn't like he was saying, hey, I love tending sheep. I want to be a shepherd for the rest of my life. No, it had nothing to do with what he was doing day to day. It had nothing to do with the work that he was doing now. It had more to do with what he wanted to accomplish, which was to travel the world to see all that he could see. Why do I say that? Because there are times in our life where we recognize that we're not where we want to be. We're not doing necessarily what we want to do, but you have to remember what your purpose is. And if you don't know your purpose, you have to find that purpose out. And for Santiago, his purpose was to travel. So regardless of the work that he did, he was willing to do whatever work necessary in order for him to travel, which was his purpose. His purpose wasn't to tend sheep. That was just a means to an end. It was a method. It was the tool. It was the vehicle that he used in order to do what he wanted to do. So I ask you this: what is it that you want to do? What is your purpose? And then ask yourself, am I using my current vehicle, whatever that is, your job, a school, whatever it is that you're in, are you using your current vehicle to fulfill your purpose?
That's good stuff. Now look, as you're thinking about that, and you are picking up the book right now, or you're going on to Amazon, or you're downloading the PDF, however you're getting this information, or you listen to the audio, there are 4 obstacles that Paulo talks about in the introduction. There are 4 obstacles that we all are going to face along our journey, and you're on your journey right now. And Santiago is really just the embodiment of our journey. He is a reflection of what, of who we are. but he talks about 4 different obstacles that you'll find along your journey. And the first one is the fact that the world has always told us that everything is impossible, right? That's your first obstacle. Everything is impossible. The second obstacle is the fear that we are going to lose people's love as a result of us chasing our dreams. That's the second obstacle that we're going to run into. The third obstacle that we'll run into is the fear of defeat. So the fear that as I chase my dream, I don't accomplish what I said I was going to accomplish, and I am so afraid of I'm so afraid of the failure that I'll never start. And then the last thing, the fourth thing that he said that we'll run into along the way is once we have achieved our dream, we don't feel that we are worthy of what we have accomplished, and so we do something stupid later on to make sure that we're just like everybody else.
Going back to being accountable. Hey, Mr. Hughes, thanks for joining. How are you today?
Evan, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thanks so much for joining. Right. So I'm looking in the background. I see all of these books. So I'm imagining you got The Alchemist somewhere in that bookshelf.
I've got The Alchemist. I read The Alchemist when it was first published. But I really like his Manual of the Warrior of the Light, which covers all the things you covered in The Alchemist. And it's just a brilliant, he's a terrific writer. And I read a lot of books all the time. So, yes, I do have it. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on The Alchemist? I see you jumped in. You said you wanted to get in on this conversation, share some of your thoughts, some of your experiences, some of your triumphs and victories.
Well, I'm not so young as you guys, but I believe in constant and never-ending learning, and I like to read the biographies of authors before I sort of read their books, in a sense. But it resonated with me, the stuff he was saying. And the fourth point you just made there, Mr. Beatles, do you have a first name or do you prefer Mr. Beatles?
Well, my first name is Anthony, but everybody calls me Mr. Beatles or Beatle.
Okay. My second name's Anthony. My name's David Anthony John, so we've got a connection already.
All right.
But the fourth point you made there, I was a person who, until I was about 45, who never felt worthy of the success that I had. And I'd get almost close. I had a dream to do certain things, and I never felt worthy of it, in a sense. But when I was 40, I went on a live-in time management course, 4 days, with a guy called Stig Enbom. He owned Time Management Incorporated, and he was from Denmark. And I was working for Telecom Australia at the time. So I was 40. And we had to write a kind of film script of what we wanted our life to be. And I'd read some books on self-help and everything was possible, if you had a dream and so on. And I was very much into material things in those days. So my 5 things were I wanted to have children by the time I was 45, 5-year plan. I wanted to have $150,000 in savings in the bank. I wanted a big house in Mount Eliza, which is a posh part of where I live. I wanted to pay cash for the new truck. I wanted a Toyota truck. And I wanted to be retired from work. And so I did this time management course. And it was a discipline course and keeping a diary and focus and all these sorts of things. So it was a dream, and I wouldn't let anyone get me away from the dream. When I was 45 and 6 months, I had achieved all 5 of them. Interesting thing was, after 4 years of having all that, I wasn't very happy. And I realized that material things weren't the thing. It was more to do with how I was feeling inside. I read his book. I read Wayne Dyer. I read a few other people. And I realized, and what Evan was speaking about when I first came in, how does someone see inside of us? I'm a Toastmaster, and I'm in a contest going up to trying to be the world champion of public speaking.
Oh,
my contest speech is actually about the two worlds that we live in, which touches on what you're saying. People see who we are physically. You know, when I'm on stage, I've got a suit on, a tie, polished shoes, and my hair's done nice and so on. And they make judgments about me. What they can't see is what's inside me. Paulo Coelho helped me see that. And one day I'm going to go on that Santiago Way route as well, to try and follow in his footsteps. The interesting thing about him, I think, though, is that if I'm right, when I was reading about him, he worked for a record company. And he was called to somewhere in America to talk, and he thought he was getting a promotion, but he was actually being fired. And that's when he started writing his books. So serendipity intervened, or something up there, his infinite, invisible, or God, or whatever people, you know, my God, whatever, intervened in his life. And you're right, he sold, 47 million books in 56 languages. Not bad for someone from Brazil.
Incredible.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely incredible. And again, it goes back to having the courage to follow your
dream.
Legend. Yeah, following your personal legend. And conventional wisdom will convince you that you can't do it, that you can't go off script, and you have to follow the leader. And again, that's the way that we've been conditioned and trained. And so it feels weird when you start going off script, when you start actually writing your own program. And it's uncomfortable because you're writing your own program for the first time. But the beautiful thing is that there is a guide on the inside of you. And if you have the courage to just follow the guide that's on the inside of you, naturally, you'll start to see the picture unfolding. And even when you fall into some challenges, even when you fall into the obstacles and the heartaches, all of those things are really just shaping and molding the person that you're becoming. And those things are necessary.
That's right.
Right? Those things are necessary. We talk about working out a lot, and you have to put more weight on the bar. You have to put more tension and stress on the body if you're going for growth that you desire. And so,
sorry, go on.
So I'm listening. The blood, sweat, the tears, all of those things are necessary for your story to unfold, and you have to have those. And and the only way that you don't achieve the things that you desire is if you shy away from the struggle. The struggle.
That's right. That's right. You know, without banging on about Toastmasters, Craig Valentine, who's African-American guy, lives in Philadelphia or somewhere. He was the world champion of public speaking in 2000. Now, there's a guy who had a dream that he was going to be the world champion, joined Toastmasters, and within 12 months he became the world champion. It's almost unheard of, you know, but he did it. But he said he had a dream, and he was offered a promotion because he was going to leave the job he had to go to another job. And his wife, and he was offered more money to stay where he was. And his wife said to him, "Tell them your dream is not for sale." So he left and went to this other job because he was, passionate about it. But have you read this book by Paulo Coelho?
No. Warrior of the Light.
Can I just read you a passage that covers what you just said?
Yes.
It takes seconds,
Please do.
So it's the Warrior of the Light, the handbook. A warrior does not keep... Let me put my glasses on. I have trouble reading in this light. This will take me 30 or 40 seconds.
Go.
A warrior does not keep company with those who wish to harm him, nor is he seen in the company of those who want to console him. He avoids anyone who's only by his side in the event of a defeat. These false friends want to prove that weakness is rewarded. They always bring him bad news. They always try to destroy the warrior's confidence, all under the cloak of solidarity. When they see him wounded, they dissolve in tears, but in their heart of hearts they are happy because the warrior has lost the battle. They do not understand that this is part of the fight. The true companions of a warrior are beside him always, during the difficult times and the easy times. And the reason I want to say that, this Craig Valentine I mentioned to you, when he tells his story, he gives a metaphor or an example of crabs in a barrel. And this is like about friendships. If you want to change and your friends want to stay with you, they have to change a little too. Most friends don't want to do that. They're like crabs in a barrel. When a crab tries to get out of a barrel, the others claw him back in.
That's right.
They want him to be like them. So it's a disciplined journey that you go. And I did that. I left some friends of mine for 10 years and walked my own path because the lifestyle I had was not the lifestyle I wanted. It wasn't part of my dream. And I had to leave them because, I was drinking too much, playing cards, all these sorts of things. I needed change. So for 10 years, I left that group, walked my own path, got to where I wanted to be. We're still friends, but I don't socialise with them in that sense. I'll give them a call. I'll have a coffee with them, but I'll never go to the bar with them or anything like that anymore. It wasn't doing me any good. It was an amazing journey.
Man, so it's what's very, very interesting to me in your story. One, obviously, as you go along your own journey, you make new friends. So that's friends are you get new friends. You get your friends that are a part of the new journey that you're on. But I like the fact that you mentioned that you went through this process of scripting out your life. Something happened, and then at 40, you were like, "Hey, this has got to change. I've got to take control of my life." You got with someone. In this case, we would call him a coach, but you got with someone that could help you script out your life. And it's interesting. You said for 5 years, you did a 5-year plan. Now, that leads us to Future by Design, which is the exact same thing that we have designed to help other people design the next 5 years of their life, and that's exactly what we do as coaches. Because what I found interesting, I'm pretty sure you guys can connect with this, is that one, Dave, you wrote it down and you had specific things that you wanted to accomplish. But then 5 years later, you look back at what you had written, and then you notice that you actually accomplished what you wrote down. I did the same thing when I was looking through my to write notes about this story. I saw a notepad. I had these goals that I had written down like 6 months ago, and lo and behold, those goals have been accomplished, even though I hadn't really looked at them. I wrote them down, put them somewhere, and then just went about life. But I started moving towards my goals. The universe actually started bringing those goals towards me as well. People, new friends, new experiences, a new journey. And so that's why it's so very important that if you are in a place in your life that you're saying, hey, this is not where I want to be. Well, first we have to decide where it is that we want to be. Right. And then we need to map out those steps, exactly what that looks like. I have a detailed description of what that life looks like. And for you, you said, hey, you wanted to have a child. You said for you wanted to retire from your business. You said for you, now you're saying, hey, you want to be the Toastmaster, the grand champion, world champion. I've been Toastmasters as well. So I understand that. Good. And so you're saying this is what you desire to do. This is your worthy ideal. And what's very great about it, in the book, he said that it's the possibility of having a dream come true that makes life interesting. Let me say that again. It's the possibility of having a dream come true that makes life interesting.
That's hope.
That's right.
That sounds like hope.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. People talk about Pandora's box. They say when you open Pandora's box, it's Armageddon, and all this comes out, and all that comes out. And what they don't, what a lot of my friends have never understood is, what is the last thing that comes out of Pandora's box?
I don't know. What is it?
Hope.
Hope. Okay.
Hope.
Well, everything else comes out and people focus on that. It's Armageddon and all these nasty things and all that. But the very last thing that comes out of the box is hope. And it's a metaphor, isn't it, for there will be struggle. Struggle teaches you. But as long as you've got hope, you can do things.
Absolutely. That's the light. That's the light at the end of the tunnel. That's why we wake up every morning and we continue to strive. We continue to do more, be more, have more, is because there is a hope on the inside of us. And it's not a wishful hope, but there is this and again, once you've decided that you're going to do something, you hope knowing that thing that you desired is coming to pass. When it comes to pass, when the oak tree becomes fully matured, we don't know. Yeah. However, we do know that it will and it shall come. Yeah.
So here's the.
And I think that answers Evan's question about, the inside of you, because once you have a dream, once you have a kind of goal or whatever, you may not concentrate on it all the time, but your mindset is working on it all the time.
Your subconscious.
And your heart is working on it all the time. Most people can't see that. When I stand up to speak in Toastmasters, they see the kind of physical thing, the words coming out of my mouth and whatever they're thinking about. But inside of me is where the goal is, and it's sort of everything I do is focused that way.
Yeah.
But I may not be saying that, but I'm feeling that, and so it's a feeling inside that's getting me up there.
Yeah, so you put your goal out into the universe, guys. Put it out. And as he said his wife to Mr. Valentine said that your dream is not for sale. There's sometimes you're going to have to make decisions that are based on your dream and not based on the income.
Yeah. That's right.
That's what it is, because the dream is not for sale. I mean, this guy Santiago, he was what he said was, even as a shepherd, now he had the ability every day to go after his dream. Whereas if he wasn't a shepherd, he wouldn't be able to travel. He wouldn't be able to go after his dream. He might be confined. And so here's the deal, guys. We do this every day, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. We're going to continue in The Alchemist. Right. We're just getting started. And I think tomorrow, Mr. Beatles, I want to talk about how to lead the sheep. How to lead the sheep.
Yeah.
The sheep.
Well, Robert Frost said it, didn't he, with his poem, I came to a crossroad and I took the path less traveled.
Yeah, road less traveled. That's another one we got to read.
It's the road less traveled. And it is a lonely road for a while, But, hey, there are new things there, It's awesome. I'm in a position now where, well, I'm 71 now, but I don't, material things are not important to me now. Connection with other people, and has been for some time. They're the things that are important. But oddly enough, if you do that well, or if it happens for you, all the other things are in place anyway.
Right.
All right, guys. So here's the deal, guys. For those that don't know, we're going through The Alchemist, man, by Paulo Coelho. 25th year anniversary. Books sold millions of copies, 55 different languages. This is what we're in part one. We're not even really getting through part one. I mean, it's so much in this book.
I'll get my copy out tomorrow. It's here somewhere. I've got lots of books, but it's here.
Yeah, no, that's good, David. I mean, the whole point of this show, man, is to inspire and to encourage and to uplift. And so here's the deal. We let the show take on its own form, man, because it's not a me show, it's a we show. So people jump into the open seats, they have things to share. We want to allow them to share. Now, David, you are going after this grand championship. You're 71. You got some things going on, and we're going to be following you. But is there something that we need to know about you? Is there something? Do you have anything out that we need to know about as we connect with your network and you connect with ours? Is there do you like a website or anything like that? Anything that we need to know?
I do a blog. I don't do it as often as I should, but I do a blog. I do have a website, but I'm having a new website built, because last year I decided what I had wasn't right. But I've got Twitter and Facebook, and this is my 15th day on Blab, so I'll use that 15th day. So I'll use that more. And I'm having a professional website, professional photograph, because I'm really serious now about this world champion thing. Okay. I've never written a speech before last year. I've always written the opening line, the closing line, and ad-libbed according to what was happening in the audience. But this year, I've actually written the speech.
Right.
And Dhananjaya Hettiarachchi, who you may know, because he was the world champion of public speaking in 2014. I brought him to Australia for 10 days and spent 10 days with him. So I'm really serious about it now.
Okay, fantastic.
Whereas before it was an idea, before now it is my dream,
Hey, it was your dream before, but now you're making it go.
Yeah, I'm making it. Yeah, I have a burning desire for it now. I see that I have about 4 years left.
Yeah,
to do that.
That's some Napoleon Hill, some Nightingale right there.
Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But it's not about money, is it?
No, not at all.
It's about all the other things.
Well, cool, Dave. I want to say thank you for joining our show today, man.
My pleasure.
30 minutes of just power-packed punch, guys. And so, David, if you have any last words for the people, you can feel free to share those at this time.
I would just say that if you're given the opportunity, carpe diem, a blab like this is well worth it. I've seen a few blabs. This one excites me. And if these people are listening, they should jump in and have a listen. Are you going to be on every day, did you say?
Yeah, Monday through Friday, same bat time, same bat time.
Same time. Well, it's, I've just, so how long have you been on that air now? About an hour or something? Half an hour?
30 minutes, half an hour.
Okay, well, where I am, I'm in Australia, and it's 11:36 p.m.
Okay. So
Monday night.
So 11 o'clock your time, that night, in the evening. Okay, gotcha.
So what time is it? What time is it? Where are you anyway? In America somewhere? Or?
Yeah, we're in the east coast of United States, so we're on the Eastern time.
Right.
So it's 7 a.m., 7:36 a.m. our time.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll be here tomorrow night. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
My time. Awesome. Lovely to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you, Mr. Hughes.
Take it easy. Okay. And I'll get my copy of The Alchemist out so that I can follow where we're at tomorrow night.
All right. We'll
go part one tomorrow.
Excellent. Thanks very much. See you later.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
Mr. Peters, got any last words for the people, man?
My last words for the people. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. It has been a fantastic time. It has been a fantastic year. And I will say, going into The Alchemist, what I want to encourage you to do is to really follow your voice this year. Follow your personal legend. Whatever truly excites you, whatever you do without, if you never had to get paid $1, if nobody ever saw you do it, and you love to do it, do that thing and do it with reckless abandon this year. No holds bar. Follow your legend and just see what happens.
Hey, and if you do what you love to do, if you do what excites you, then you'll always have an enjoyable time doing it. There is a joy. There is a certain level of a sense of worth, sense of enjoyment. There's a difference between being happy and being joyful. There's a sense of joy that comes in you following your voice, following your personal legend, discovering what that personal legend is, and then following it into its fruition. When people ask me, what do I do for fun? I do it every day. Me inspiring someone is fun to me. So,
Right.
I don't have to go to a movie or whatever the case may be. I don't have to do all these exotic things to try to manufacture joy. I get joy just in having conversations like this, meeting new people, seeing the light bulb go off for someone else. I don't know, that's a sense of joy that I haven't seen anywhere else in my life. So that's why I do what I do, because I just love to do it. So hopefully, if you're a Paulo Coelho fan, you'll be joining us every day, 7 a.m. We're going to kind of get into it tomorrow. I want to talk about how to leave the sheep. I think when I was reading this book, man, the sheep just continue to. We're gonna have to talk about the sheep, man, because even talking about crabs and the birds, very similar, concept between the crabs and the sheep, and we can talk about that tomorrow, because that could be a place where a lot of people are. Well, how exactly do I leave this space of comfort, this space of what is depending on me in order for me to grow and go to the next level, so more can depend on me and I can serve more people. So, at any rate, I don't want to talk too much. Yeah, leading and leaving the sheep.
Leading
Absolutely.
and leaving the sheep, man, because you gotta lead them, but at some point you gotta leave them. So,
That'll be the title for tomorrow, man. But yeah, that's today's show, man. Hope you guys enjoyed it. You'll be back with us tomorrow. We're on Monday through Friday, 7 a.m., same bat time, same bat channel. This is the Wealthy, Healthy, Happy Show. I'm your host, ERGJ. We've got Mr. Beatles in the building.
this is Mr. Beatles. Again, we thank you so much for tuning in today. We are wealthy, we're healthy, we're happy, and we are
out. Have a good one.